DD India Newshour, India's voice to the world. I'm Preeti Kaur. Coming up in the next 1 hour. US urges Americans to leave all of the Middle East due to safety concerns. Trump says Iran war projected to last 4 to 5 weeks, but could stretch longer.
We're already substantially ahead of our time projections, but whatever the time is, it's okay. Whatever it takes, we will always, and we have right from the beginning, we projected 4 to 5 weeks, but we have capability to go far longer than that.
Iran conflict disrupts global trade as shipping companies order vessels to find shelter. Traffic on world's most vital sea route grinds to a minimum. Oil and gas prices surge. Prime Minister Narendra Modi speaks to King of Bahrain, King of Jordan and Saudi Crown Prince, strongly condemns the attacks, calling it violation of sovereignty, calls for regional peace. Prime Minister Narendra Modi to address the post-budget webinar on the theme Sustaining and Strengthening Economic Growth via video conferencing aims to strengthen the foundations of critical sectors. Today, the sky will host a spectacular celestial show as full moon will slip into Earth's darkest shadow during a total lunar eclipse and create a stunning blood moon. The U.S. State Department urged Americans in more than a dozen countries in the West Asian region to depart now via commercial transportation due to serious safety risks as the war against Iran nears its 4th day. The countries listed by the department included Bahrain, Egypt, Iran, Iraq, Jordan, Israel, the West Bank and the Gaza Strip, Lebanon, Oman, Kuwait, Qatar, Saudi Arabia, Syria, the United Arab Emirates and Yemen. The U.S. State Department has also activated an inter-agency emergency task force to manage the situation and coordinate the United States' response to the conflict. In a video message, U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio informed its citizens regarding the important contact information.
We also encourage Americans abroad to follow our security updates for U.S. citizens channel on WhatsApp and follow @TravelGov on social media as well. The latest alerts are also available on travel.state.gov. That's our website, travel.state.gov. Americans in the Middle East, you can reach the Department of State 24 hours a day, 7 days a week at the following phone number: 1-202-501-4444.
Explosions were heard in Riyadh early on Tuesday as Iran pressed on with its campaign of retaliatory strikes across the Gulf. Saudi's defense ministry confirmed 2 drones had struck the U.S. embassy in Riyadh, starting a small fire. Trump warned that the United States would retaliate soon after its embassy in Saudi Arabian capital of Riyadh was struck by suspected Iranian drones. Qatar's military also intercepted 2 ballistic missiles early on Tuesday morning. Defense Ministry in a statement said that Qatar was able to intercept and neutralize 2 ballistic missiles that targeted several areas within the country, adding the threat was dealt with immediately upon detection. Meanwhile, Israeli forces are continuing their attacks on Tehran, striking the IRIB state broadcaster on Tuesday. Iran's state broadcaster reported 2 explosions near its Tehran headquarters, but said that it was continuing to broadcast amid the ongoing Israeli-US strike campaign. IRIB serves as Iran's state media network. It has a huge role in official communications and national broadcasting across Iran. Israel's military also said on Tuesday that it had launched strikes on Hezbollah targets, including command centers and weapons storage facilities in Lebanon's capital, Beirut, after warning it would press ahead with its campaign against the Iran-backed group. US President Donald Trump on Monday said that he ordered the attack on Iran to thwart its nuclear and ballistic missile programs, vowing to pursue the conflict for as long as necessary. In his first public remarks after Iran attack, Trump outlined objectives of US military action on Iran as the last best chance to eliminate the threat posed by Tehran regime.
This was our last best chance to strike what we're doing right now and eliminate the intolerable threats posed by this sick and sinister regime. And they are indeed sick and sinister. Our objectives are clear. First, we're destroying Iran's missile capabilities, and you see that happening on an hourly basis, and their capacity to produce brand new ones, and pretty good ones they make. Second, we're annihilating their Navy. We've knocked out already 10 ships. They're at the bottom of the sea. Third, we're ensuring that the world's #1 sponsor of terror can never obtain a nuclear weapon, never going to have a nuclear weapon. I said that from the beginning. They're never going to have a nuclear weapon. They were on the road to getting one legitimately through a deal that was signed foolishly by our country. And finally, we're ensuring that the Iranian regime cannot continue to arm, fund, and direct terrorist armies outside of their borders.
Trump further said that the US military campaign in Iran was going ahead of schedule without providing details. He added that the US campaign had been projected to last 4 to 5 weeks, but that it could go longer.
The strongest and most powerful by far military in the world, and we will easily prevail. We're already substantially ahead of our time projections, but whatever the time is, it's okay. Whatever it takes, we will always, and we have right from the beginning, we projected 4 to 5 weeks, but we have capability to go far longer than that.
The US president has refused to rule out deploying US ground troops to Iran. In an interview to a US news channel, Trump said that he would consider putting troops in Iran if it is necessary, as his administration offered conflicting timelines on how long the military operation would continue. In the same interview, Trump said that the operation was right on schedule, way ahead of schedule in terms of leadership, claiming rapid progress against Iranian command figures and military infrastructure. Meanwhile, in his first public comments on the strikes in Iran, US Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth also declined to rule out the deployment of ground troops.
And so President Trump ensures that our enemies understand we'll go as far as we need to go to advance American interests. But we're not dumb about it. You don't have to roll 200,000 people in there and stay for 20 years.
Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu on Monday visited a site west of Jerusalem hit by an Iranian strike and said that it was the third day of Operation Roaring Lion, aimed at thwarting existential threats to Israel alongside the United States and US President Donald Trump, asserting that Iran's nuclear and missile program is a threat to the entire world. Netanyahu said that Israel's military actions are aimed not at defending itself, but also at safeguarding global security.
This terrorist regime of the kind we've never seen in the world, if they get nuclear weapons and the means to deliver them, ballistic missiles, intercontinental ballistic missiles, they will threaten all of humanity. So we set out to protect ourselves, but in so doing, we protect many others. And I want to say special thanks to our great friend and a great leader of the world, Donald Trump, for joining us in this crucial effort to save the world.
U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio said that the U.S. military operation against Iran was aimed at eliminating the threat posed by Iran's short-range ballistic missiles and its naval capabilities, particularly regarding threats to global shipping.
The United States is conducting an operation to eliminate the threat of Iran's short-range ballistic missiles and the threat posed by their Navy, particularly to naval assets. That is what it is focused on doing right now, and it's doing quite successfully. The purpose of this is to destroy that missile capability. Why does Iran want that ballistic missile capability? What they are trying to do and have been trying to do for a very long time.
Meanwhile, Iranian Foreign Minister Abbas Araghchi said that Iran is not at war with regional countries, but it is with the United States after the country was attacked on last Saturday.
We are no longer confronting our neighboring countries. We are confronting American forces stationed at bases of these countries' territory. We are also dealing with Americans who are attacking us day and night by every means, and with the Israelis, of course. And if US bases in these regions evacuate their soldiers and move them, for example, to hotels, that naturally becomes an issue itself. We will defend ourselves by any means. We will defend our people.
In an interview with the state broadcaster, Araghchi said that the Gulf nations must pressure the US over its actions against Iran.
Instead of pressuring the Islamic Republic of Iran to explain why it is attacking US targets on their soil, they should pressure the Americans to explain why they initiated and waged this unjust, illegal war without cause, dragging the region into this situation. They claim they were not using countries in the region, and the countries in the region claimed they had not provided United States with their airspace or territory. So how did those aircraft end up in Kuwaiti airspace?
The US military has confirmed that 6 American service members have been killed since the launch of Operation Epic Fury. This toll has risen from 4 confirmed deaths to 6, with the identities of the fallen being withheld until 24 hours after the next of the kin notification. The casualties have been part of major combat operation against Iran, which have intensified amid the ongoing conflict. The US military has also reported that several other troops have been seriously wounded during these operations. The situation remains fluid, with the US military continuing to engage in combat operations against Iran and Israel. Iran has targeted energy facilities in Qatar and Saudi Arabia, a major escalation in the conflict which could threaten the global supply of oil and gas and drive up prices. Qatar's state-run energy firm said that it had halted liquefied natural gas production following Iranian attacks on facilities at 2 of its main gas processing bases. Earlier, the Ras Tanura refinery on Saudi Arabia's Gulf Coast went into partial shutdown after a strike by drones led to a fire. A terminal in Abu Dhabi was also attacked by a drone. In parallel, energy markets are also absorbing the de facto halt to traffic in the Strait of Hormuz, through which about 20% of global supply of oil and LNG travel. The waterway has not technically been closed, but major maritime companies have suspended travel through it as insurance costs soar amid heightened risk. Since Israel and the United States launched strikes on Iran on Saturday, the world's largest shipping firms have ordered their ships to find shelter and stay safe. Iran has demonstrated a willingness to expand the war through its targeting of energy assets, but no one wants to see energy flows interrupted, including Iran, which is dependent on the associated revenue. With Iran targeting energy infrastructure, there is a high risk that Iran's key export facilities at Kharg Island will be struck. In the latest news, oil prices rose for a third day on Tuesday amid heightened fears of supply disruptions from the key West Asian producing region. Brent crude futures were at $78.83 a barrel. White US West Texas Intermediate crude jumped 1% to $71.97 a barrel. Tankers and container ships are avoiding the waterway as insurers have cancelled their coverage for vessels. European gas oil futures gained 2.7% to $909.5 a metric ton after climbing 18% on Monday. The concerns about transiting the waterway are increasing as Iranian media reported that an Iranian Revolutionary Guard's senior official saying the Strait of Hormuz is closed and Iran will fire on any ship trying to pass. Analysts expect oil prices to remain elevated over the coming days while markets focus on the impact of escalating conflict. With few captains willing to brave the Strait of Hormuz as war rages around the Gulf, companies will have to do business without one of the world's most vital shipping lanes, especially for oil and gas. Now, what is the Strait's importance to the world markets? Let's get to that. The Strait is especially key to the world energy markets, with around 20% of global seaborne oil passing through. The strait is essential to all regional trade as it allows access to Dubai's Jebel Ali port. Now, Jebel Ali port is world's 10th largest container port and a redistribution hub for more than a dozen countries in the region. The Strait of Hormuz has always been open for business. Even during the Iran-Iraq war between 1980 and 1988, commercial passage was maintained despite attacks on oil tankers. World's largest shipping firms have ordered their ships to find shelter and stay safe. Germany ships cars, machinery and industrial products via the strait, while France mainly sells cereals and agricultural products, cosmetics, luxury goods and pharmaceuticals. Italy, meanwhile, exports food, large quantities of marble and ceramics. Several online shopping platforms have warned their clients that delivery times may increase. Freight costs are already rising as a result of the additional charges shipping companies are imposing for transit in the region. Spain said the United States is not using and will not be using joint military bases on its territory for operations against Iran. 15 U.S. aircraft that left the Rota and Moron military bases in southern Spain since the U.S. and Israel launched attacks on Iran. Foreign Minister Jose Manuel Alvarez said that Spain would not allow its military bases, which are jointly operated by the U.S. and Spain, but under Spanish sovereignty, to be used for attacks on Iran, which Spain has condemned. Defense Minister Margarita Robles said that the aircraft, primarily aerial refueling tankers, including the Boeing KC-135 Stratotanker, had been permanently stationed in Spain.
At this moment, in the operation being carried out by the Israeli and US armies, they are acting unilaterally without the support of an international resolution, and therefore they are not using those bases. The tanker aircraft are permanently stationed there, and the aircraft have left because they were not going to carry out any operations from here. They are American aircraft, and the American military decides what to do with them. What is very clear is that the tanker aircraft in Moron or Rota have not carried out and will not carry out any maintenance or support operations.
Oil and gas prices soared, stock markets mostly retreated, and the dollar rallied on Monday as the widening Iran war shook financial markets across the globe. European natural gas prices jumped over 39% after liquefied natural gas production in Qatar was halted following Iranian attacks on major gas facilities. World crude futures jumped more than 6% on fears of disruption to supplies, with the vital Strait of Hormuz effectively shut and several ships attacked. Wall Street's main indices fell decisively at the start of the session but recovered throughout the day. While the Dow Jones still finished lower, the Nasdaq ended in positive territory and the S&P 500 eked out a small gain. Equities took a harder hit in Europe and Asia as investors looked beyond stocks in favor of the dollar and gold. The greenback jumped around 1% against its major rivals. Gold prices finished 0.8% higher after a bigger increase earlier in the day. You're watching DD India News. Are waiting for a short break. Stay with us.
Can the US launch a bombing campaign against Iran? The Philippines vessel suffered structural damage. The saga of child sexual abuse is the United States China's debt trap strategy. Truth is stranger than fiction. But sometimes hard to uncover. Trust us to tell the truth, unadulterated and pure, of every story that matters to you.
Exactly what to save your.
You read between the lines, cut the clutter, and connect the dots to get you the full picture. Watch Connecting the Dots at these times with me, only on DD India.
Welcome back after the break. You're watching DD India Newshour. Let's get you the latest coming in. Iran's guards said that they have targeted US airbase in Bahrain. The state media has reported this. Meanwhile, US forces have destroyed Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps command and control facilities. Also destroyed Iranian air defense capabilities, missile, drone launch sites and military airfields. This is the latest we are getting for you, where Iran's guards have said that they have targeted US airbase in Bahrain. The US forces have destroyed Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps command and control facilities. The Embassy of India in Abu Dhabi has advised all Indian nationals in the UAE to avoid unnecessary travel, take due care, remain vigilant and follow safety guidelines and advisories as and when issued by the UAE authorities and the embassy.
I want to assure you that the Government of India attaches very high importance to the safety, security and well-being of the Indian nationals across the region and in UAE. Prime Minister Shri Narendra Modi ji has spoken to the President, His Highness Sheikh Mohammed, yesterday night, and also earlier External Affairs Minister Dr. Jaishankar spoke to the Foreign Minister, His Highness Sheikh Abdullah. We have thanked them for their prompt and effective action they have taken to ensure safety, security of the country, the residents and the Indian community here in UAE. I would like to tell you that the Indian Embassy in UAE and the Indian Consulate in Dubai, we are working around the clock 24/7 to ensure that we are available to all members of community. We are running helplines 24/7 and emails, which are details below in the screen.
Indian Embassy in Kuwait also posted on social media saying that the embassy remains fully engaged in assisting Indian passengers stranded in Kuwait due to the temporary shutdown of airspace. Embassy officials are in regular contact with the stranded passengers and are closely liaising with Kuwaiti authorities, management of the respective hotels and airlines. India's Ministry of Civil Aviation is closely monitoring the evolving airspace situation in parts of the Middle East and its impact on international flight operations. Indian carriers have undertaken calibrated adjustments to their schedules, with long-haul and ultra-long-haul operations being progressively resumed through alternative routings that avoid restricted airspace. Aircraft and few repositioning measures are underway to restore operational stability at the earliest. Special arrangements are being made to facilitate the movement of stranded passengers. Airlines are deploying additional capacity where required and coordinating closely with foreign aviation authorities and Indian missions abroad to ensure safe and orderly passenger movement. Indigo has planned 10 special relief operations from Jeddah to India on 3rd of March to facilitate the return of stranded passengers, subject to required approvals and prevailing airspace conditions. Indigo is coordinating with the Consulate General of India at Jeddah for passenger facilitation. SpiceJet will operate 4 special flights to connect Fujairah with Delhi, Mumbai and Kochi for March and for the next few days as well. Out of them, 2 flights would be operated to Mumbai. The airline is also exploring the possibility of operating more special flights subject to passenger requirements and regulatory approvals. The ministry remains in continuous coordination with airlines, airport operators, regulatory authorities and the Ministry of External Affairs to ensure safe operations, orderly restoration of services and facilitation of affected passengers. Our correspondent Akshay Dongre is joining us from Newsroom. Akshay, good morning. We've told our viewers about the efforts made by the Indian government to reach out to the Indian nationals stranded in the Gulf countries. At the same time, Prime Minister Narendra Modi has also talked to the leaders of the Gulf countries who have been affected by these strikes. Get us more as to how do we expect the days ahead to pan out, and the latest which you can get us on the Indian government's way of handling the situation for the Indians who are stranded in these troubled areas.
Preeti, firstly, the government of India had issued multiple advisories even before this conflict started, especially in Iran. Advisories were there for the entire region as well, but focusing more on Israel and Iran. where the government had called for people, and when it comes to Iran, the warnings were quite clear that they should leave, using any commercial flights that are available and return to India, because the situation had been escalating, for quite a long time now. But many of these warnings were not paid heed to by the people who are living there. Probably there was a doubt among the people that anything substantial will happen. However, and now that the conflict has started, it seems that the government will have to change the sort of advisories, and it is doing so by asking people not to travel unnecessarily, only travel when it's extremely required. These people have been asked to not go near the military bases, not go near important buildings, especially when it comes to the security forces. The US bases are totally off the chart now as far as the areas where people can go, because the situation remains quite complicated, and the government is right now assessing the situation, because the preliminary situation or the assessment of the situation shows that any kind of flight operations are too risky, especially when it comes to Iran, when it comes to Israel, with many of the missiles are being launched from one party to another location, especially the strategic locations that involves the airports as well. So the government is right now assessing, and as and when required, rescue operations can begin. But as of now, doing anything as a knee-jerk reaction can only invite more damage and more harm to the people, especially given the uncertainty of the situation. So it is being assessed, but as far as the latest on the ground is concerned, we are seeing an escalation of the conflict that was assumed by the US and the Israeli leadership to be an operation like Venezuela. Khamenei is killed in the airstrikes by Israel and the US. However, what the Western powers have failed to assess is the kind of fragmentation that was already done when it comes to the leadership. The Iranian government, Iranian leadership, especially the IRGC, had a plan in place for these kind of contingencies. In fact, over 30 parts have been divided of the chain of command, where people can take independent actions as far as protecting their respective regions are concerned. So it's going to be quite a daunting task for the US and the Israeli forces to take out the entire leadership, because even they do not know what exactly comprises of the leadership. There is a long chain of command that has already been established by the Islamic regime of Iran, and it is going to be a biggest challenge for the Israeli as well as the US government, who were thinking that there will be an internal protest as soon as Khamenei is dead, and all of those expectations of an uprising of the people, which in fact hasn't happened yet. In fact, people are getting more united, given the fact that missiles are flying. Many of the civilians have been killed, especially that girls' school where missiles had landed, killing over 150 students. So all of these are not going as per the expectations of the Israel and the US. So it is going to be a long conflict before we see an end to it.
All right, Akshay, we leave it here. Thank you so much for joining in with those updates. As India-linked travel is slowly resuming, passengers began returning from Dubai and Abu Dhabi to Indian cities. Returnees described the skies as tense over the Gulf. Let's listen in.
All good. It's a great service, no issues. Some partial airspace is available, so they released a few flights now, and they're expecting other flights to come in. So there are like 15 to 16 flights traveled today, and they're expecting tomorrow to start some more.
Today, Etihad arranged for us to come back. Our flights were cancelled initially, so today they arranged another flight.
They are arranging flights for us to come back, and special thanks to the Indian government as well as the UAE government. And they did extend our stay, and they accommodated as well.
Today when we came to know that the airport started opening up, so we booked a flight to Emirates, and we went to the airport and took the flight. So Emirates' experience was good. They took good care of us. I think from tomorrow it will be operational and many people will come back, is what I think.
The first charter flight carrying 127 Italian citizens stranded in Oman or moved there from Dubai landed in Rome's Fiumicino airport late on Monday. The operation came as Italy works to repatriate its citizens stuck in West Asia following the US-Israeli strike on Iran and the subsequent escalation in the region. The Foreign Ministry said in a statement, embassies and consulates in Abu Dhabi, Dubai and Oman are working to transfer Italian nationals to airports still operating in the region. Among the passengers were Italians returning home as well as citizens of other countries who made their way back to Europe with assistance from the Italian embassy. The Directorate General of Shipping has issued advisories to Indian vessels over the situation in the Persian Gulf, Strait of Hormuz and Gulf of Oman. In an advisory, it said that it is closely monitoring the evolving maritime security situation. The Directorate has activated enhanced monitoring and security oversight, including ensuring maritime security and crew safety, real-time tracking of Indian-flagged vessels with increased reporting frequency and 24/7 monitoring through the Maritime Monitoring and Data Analysis Center, DGCOM Center. Mandatory reporting protocols have been prescribed for vessels, owners and managers, and close coordination is being maintained with the Indian Navy, Ministry of External Affairs, IFC, IOR, MRCC and Indian missions. Shipping companies have also been advised to exercise due caution in crew deployment and to maintain regular communication with seafarers and their families. The Government of India remains fully committed to safeguarding the interests of Indian seafarers, merchant shipping and ensuring the security and resilience of Indian maritime operations during this period of heightened regional tension. Prime Minister Narendra Modi held important telephone conversations with the King of Bahrain and another with Crown Prince of Saudi Arabia, Prince Mohammed bin Salman, on Monday. In a post on X, Prime Minister Modi said that he had a productive telephonic conversation with the King of Bahrain, His Majesty King Hamad bin Isa Al Khalifa. Prime Minister Modi also said that India condemns the attack on Bahrain and stands in solidarity with its people in this difficult hour. Prime Minister thanked Al Khalifa for the steadfast support extended to the Indian community in Bahrain. Prime Minister Modi also held talks with the Crown Prince of Saudi Arabia, Prince Mohammed bin Salman. In a post on X, Prime Minister said that they discussed the evolving situation in West Asia. Prime Minister Modi condemned the recent attacks on Saudi Arabia, calling them violation of sovereignty and territorial integrity. Both the leaders agreed that the earliest restoration of regional peace and stability is of utmost importance. Prime Minister Modi also thanked Crown Prince for looking after the well-being of the Indian community during these difficult times. Prime Minister Modi also spoke with King Abdullah II, the King of Jordan, on the conflict in West Asia. Prime Minister conveyed his deep concern at the evolving situation in the region and reaffirmed India's support for peace, security and well-being of the people of Jordan. Prime Minister also thanked him for taking care of the Indian community in Jordan in this difficult hour. You're watching DD India Newshour. We're waiting for a short break. Stay with us.
Open your mind to a whole new world. Explore mystic wonders of nature in the forests.
तो मुझे देख के आपको लग रहा है कि मुझे इजी वाला देना चाहिए.
Uncover secrets hidden deep inside the earth.
And I'd always heard of this ancient Shiv Mandir which is inside a cave.
Experience the rich cultural legacy.
मुझे बताइए इस डांस फॉर्म के बारे में, इस आर्ट फॉर्म के बारे में.
Experience the blend of vibrant warmth and stunning creations.
It fits perfectly.
Thank you. Jharkhand. Let it become a part of you. Postcards from Jharkhand on National Geographic.
Welcome back after the break. You're watching DD India Newshour. Let's go across to Nepal now. The Malian nation is preparing for March 5th national elections. The Election Commission of Nepal has directed the monitoring officers to effectively implement the code of conduct until the voting day. More than 3,400 candidates are in fray for the March 5th polls. Nearly 19 million people will take part in the ballot for Nepal's House of Representatives, the lower of the country's two houses of parliament. They will elect 275 members of parliament through a mixture of first part of the post-voting and proportional representation. The general election will be the first the country has held since the deadly youth-led protest toppled the government in September last year. All right, our correspondent Shweta Singh joins us from Nepal to get us more. Shweta, good morning. Let us know more details as to what extent will these elections have a bearing on the political landscape in Nepal?
Preeti, you see, this time election is going to completely change the setup of traditional political setup in Nepal. Things are very different this time. We seen the trend from 2012, 2017, 2022 elections. Three major parties had taken all the attention of Nepalese public, Nepali Congress, CPN UML, and Communist Party, Marxist Central. These three parties, now they are really working hard that they get some of the votes. But this time, Nepal is really vying for change. They want everything new, everything different. So this attitude, this aptitude of the people that have been roaming around Nepal in last 1 month, whatever, observed people want change. So probably in this election on March 5, that will be reflected in the voting pattern. So it is going to be very interesting. Traditional voting pattern is going to be completely shattered. Something new will be out.
All right, something new will be out. What is it that the people there in Nepal are looking at? And when we talk of the prospects of the government, the interim government led by Sushila Karki, what is it facing at present, the main issues that will govern the elections this time around?
Preeti, you see, I cannot name the parties right now because it's opinion poll. It will be declared as opinion poll. That shouldn't be done because it's silent mode now. But what people of Nepal want is their address of employment should be addressed. Their issue of remittance that is brought back home, utilization of those financial huge amount of money that is coming in what institution they invest that, the better usage of those money. And you see human resource management, entrepreneurship, energy sector, because there is so much of hydroelectric power prospect in Nepal, but there have been some backlog. So addressing these issues, they expect that if new options are explored, the chances of having all these issues will be addressed in a better way. So these human resource, tourism, all these are one of the major content that government of Nepal, that new government will be formed, have to address.
All right. Also, Shweta, get us a very quick sense of the permutations and combinations that could be witnessed this time around in the elections, because we've seen how, of late, the former prime ministers have been, sharing more spotlight in the political landscape in Nepal. So do we see any changes in the permutations and combination of the political parties this time around?
Definitely, Preeti. This will be very interesting because the traditional permutation combination of all those top three parties will be shattering this time. There is a maximum chances that earlier, if I remind my viewers, it was the third largest party whose prime minister ruled for a long time, Pushpa Kamal Dahal. So imagine a third largest party is having their prime minister instead of the largest party, Nepali Congress, or second largest party, UML. It was only late when Nepali Congress joined hand with the second largest party that KP Sharma Oli became the prime minister. And you see, because of this magic number focusing, because all parties were focusing on the 138 number of magic number that should be there, the number of seats should be there in the parliament for making government, having their own prime minister. So everybody was focusing on having 138 seats instead of looking on the issues that is being faced by the Nepali people. So people were really frustrated, and that was really reflected in the Gen Z protests that happened on 8 and 9 September 2025. So that shook entire Nepal, showing that people are now frustrated. They are fed up of all those traditional patterns. And this is the occasion. 5 March will be really that 7 a.m. to 5 p.m. will be the time when people will go voting. And Nepal future will be sealed in that.
Yes.
Because the new government will decide how Nepal will be moving ahead.
Yes.
The basic problem of Nepalis will be addressed by formation of new government. It's a hope. See, it's just a hope. Because you cannot ensure that new government will be capable to handle all those issues in one go only. It's really not easy. Because
so people
for any
are
government,
aspiring for a change there. Thank you so much, Shweta, for joining in with those details from Nepal. And in other news, Prime Minister Narendra Modi has crossed the significant milestone of 30 million subscribers on YouTube, further cementing his position as the most followed world leader on the platform. Among the world leaders, Prime Minister Modi has the highest number of subscribers on YouTube. As per the rankings, he is comfortably ahead of other world leaders in the category. Prime Minister Modi has more than 7 times the number of subscribers as compared to US President Donald Trump, underlining the scale of his digital outreach and engagement worldwide. With over 30 million subscribers, Prime Minister Modi's YouTube channel stands as the most subscribed globally. Prime Minister Narendra Modi will address the post-budget webinar on the theme Sustaining and Strengthening Economic Growth at 11:15 AM IST via video conferencing. Under the scheme, 4 different webinar sessions are being held, covering various sectors including manufacturing, industrial upgradation and strategic sectors, MSME finances and market access, city economic regions, and the 4th session is infrastructure, logistics and freight. The post-budget webinar will highlight the forward-looking reform push to expand industrial scale, deepen technological leadership and strengthen the foundation of critical sectors. The deliberations will focus on translating these priorities into effective action, guided by insights from industry participants whose on-ground experience will support more effective implementation. Ahead of Holi, the festive rush has gathered pace, with people across North India thronging markets to shop for the Festival of Colours. Take a look at this report.
Shopkeepers are busy arranging stacks of colourful gulal, while rows of pichkaris hang overhead, drawing the attention of children and parents alike. Ahead of Holi, the festive rush has gathered pace, with people across North India thronging markets to shop for the Festival of Colours. In Bihar's capital Patna, preparations for Holi are in full swing. Shops are seeing steady footfall as residents step out to buy festive supplies. Stalls display colourful smoke guns, scented gulal, eco-friendly colours and designer water guns. Neon wigs spill over display racks, goggles gleam under the light, and newly arrived bright masks line shop fronts, their bold hues adding a dramatic touch to this year's offerings. In Varanasi, markets are stocked with a range of festive merchandise, but traders say herbal colours are witnessing strong demand this year. Buyers are increasingly choosing skin-friendly options to steer clear of side effects during the celebrations. Distinctive pichkaris and themed masks are drawing attention, highlighting evolving preferences this Holi. Parents say children are especially fascinated by creatively designed water guns, encouraging families to explore newer options. Meanwhile, in Lucknow, shops are packed with Holi items, from colours and water guns to masks and t-shirts, as people gear up for the festivities. Organic colours have emerged as a popular choice, with many favouring them this season. Sweet shops too are presenting festive delicacies as customers complete their last-minute purchases. The spirit of Holi is already spreading across the streets even before the festivities begin. Holi will be celebrated across India on March 4th.
Mumbaikars are celebrating the Festival of Colours today with music, dance and food being served all day at various places. Heaps of bright gulal spill across the counters, while rows of colourful pichkaris hang from storefronts, adding to the festive spectacle. DD India correspondent Shama Mishra takes us through the celebrations from Mumbai.
Well, it is the Festival of Colours and everybody is celebrating here in Mumbai. We are here at Doordarshan Park, which is famous for its traditional way of celebrating the colour festival. These people are from Mathura and they are the traditional Geet Gayak and also the Vadaks. You can see the traditional Dhol guy over here. They've also come from Mathura and this is one major attraction. People over here are of all age groups and they play Holi in a very special manner. They will not be using water. They will use only dry colors and also flowers and its petals. If you see this year also, people from outside India, they are also attracted here. And as I was mentioning, everybody over here celebrates Holi. Ma'am, how are you celebrating Holi and how long have you been celebrating with them?
We have been celebrating since last 20 years. And what in PDP, of course, years and from the time I'm born, I'm celebrating, but 20 years in the PDP. And it is wonderful, it's like a rainbow here. You know, how you enjoy the rainbow and a good season, the same way here.
Where are you from and how's the celebration here like?
Hello, I'm from Toronto, Canada, and this has been an amazing celebration. We're here for Laughter Yoga. We came to Master Kishorji's Laughter Club. Had no idea that this is how you celebrate Holi. The flowers, the color, the food, the love. Happy Holi!
What about you?
Hello, my name is Nicole and I'm from the USA and I'm here for the Laughter Club. And wow, happy Holi! Thank you, thank you, thank you, India. I love you. Happy Holi!
So it is definitely a blessing amidst all the chaos which is happening in the Middle East and other places that we are celebrating Holi in such a peaceful manner, in such a safe manner. With camera person Kapil Maske, this is Shama Mishra for DD India, Mumbai.
So that was from Mumbai, and hundreds of thousands of devotees from across Gujarat thronged Dwarka on Tuesday to celebrate the Holi Fool Dhol festival at the revered Dwarkadish temple on Falgun Purnima, offering prayers and playing Holi with Lord Dwarkadish. In the ancient city of Varanasi, pre-Holi celebrations have begun with melodies echoing across the Pandey Ghat. Artists are making playful songs with classical music, reflecting the city's rich musical heritage shaped by maestros. Devotees gathered at Bagnath Temple in Uttarakhand ahead of Holi for a community celebration with musical performances by local singers known as Holiars. This centuries-old tradition will continue in villages across the region until Wednesday. Challenging long-standing stereotypes and foster a sense of belonging among the widows of Vrindavan, clad in white saris, celebrated Holi at the historic Gopinath temple on Monday, setting aside long-standing social restrictions that once kept them away from the Festival of Colours. Take a look.
Clad in white saris, widows in Vrindavan celebrated Holi at the historic Gopinath temple on Monday, setting aside long-standing social restrictions that once kept them away from the Festival of Colours. In recent years, Holi celebrations organized by Sulabh International have become meaningful occasions for these women, many of whom had long faced social neglect and humiliation.
हमारी माताएं सब चीज़ में पार्टिसिपेट कर सकती हैं, सारी
त्योहारों में, शादियों में, हर चीजों में इनको अशुभ नहीं माना जाए, इनको बिल्कुल शुभ माना जाए।
The celebration aims to challenge long-standing stereotypes and foster a sense of belonging among the widows of Vrindavan. Locals who joined the celebration welcomed the initiative, saying it helps break social stigma and promotes greater inclusion.
डॉक्टर बिंदेश्वर पाठक ने तो ये लक्ष्य लिया ही था। उनका लक्ष्य एक कदम और आगे कि यहाँ रंग बिरंगे रंग से इनको समाज की मुख्यधारा से जोड़ना जाए और इनके ऊपर कोई भी सामाजिक धब्बा जो लगा है विधवा होने का वो मिटा सके।
More than 200 widows from 5 ashrams chanted Bansi Wale Ki Jai, danced to traditional Rasiya songs sung in the temple, and celebrated by showering over 1,000 kilograms of flowers and 700 kilograms of gulal on one another.
Indian Railways has ensured that passengers across the country are able to travel home for the Holi festival with ease and comfort through meticulous planning and coordinated execution across all the railway zones. In the last 5 days, around 14 lakh passengers have travelled from Delhi. Based on the continuous monitoring of passenger rush at major stations, South Central Railways has announced the operation of 195 special trains from the last week of February through March to cater to the increased demand. Amid the heightened travel demand during the Holi festive period, Western Railways recorded a total of 23 lakh passengers over 3 days. These special services are connecting major cities, state capitals and important regional centres across the country, ensuring confirmed accommodation for passengers and significantly reducing congestion on the regular routes. Indian Railways continues to monitor passenger demand closely and remains committed to providing safe, efficient and passenger-friendly services during peak travel seasons. Third of March is World Wildlife Day, celebrating our planet's rich biodiversity. India continues strengthening wildlife protection through focused conservation efforts, ensuring sustainable ecosystems and securing nature for future generations. DD India's Tapas Bhattacharya gets us this report.
3rd March marks World Wildlife Day, a celebration of our planet's extraordinary biodiversity and a reminder of our shared responsibility to protect it. This year's theme, Medicinal and Aromatic Plants, Conserving Health, Heritage and Livelihoods, highlights how nature sustains human health, cultural traditions and local economies, while facing growing threats from habitat loss, over-harvesting and climate change. India, one of the world's most biodiverse nations, continues to lead from the front. From the majestic Asiatic lions of Gir National Park to its vast forest and river ecosystem, conservation remains a national priority. Under the leadership of Prime Minister Narendra Modi, flagship initiatives like Project Lion, Project Tiger, Project Cheetah and Project Dolphin are strengthening wildlife protection and habitat restoration across the country. Wildlife supports livelihoods, food security, medicine and ecological balance. Protecting it is not just about saving species, it is about securing our own future. On this World Wildlife Day, let us renew our commitment to conserve it for generations to come. Tapas Bhattacharya's report, DD India.
On World Wildlife Day, Prime Minister Narendra Modi reaffirmed the commitment to conservation, sustainable practices and protecting habitats so that our wildlife continues to thrive. Sharing a post on social media X, Prime Minister Modi wrote, and I quote him, "World Wildlife Day is about celebrating the incredible faunal diversity that enriches our planet and sustains our ecosystems. It is a day to acknowledge everyone working towards wildlife protection." He also wrote that the NDA government has undertaken numerous efforts for wildlife protection. This includes the setting up of the International Big Cat Alliance, an exceptional forum to share best practices with fellow nations. Other efforts include those aimed at protecting the great Indian bustard, gharial, sloth bear and the translocation of cheetahs. In other news, a total lunar eclipse is set to take place in India as well as across several time zones on 3rd of March. In this, the moon moves from right to left, passing through Earth's shadow. A total lunar eclipse occurs when the sun, Earth and the moon are precisely aligned and the Earth comes between the sun and the moon and blocks any direct sunlight from reaching the moon. In the Indian context, the experience will vary by region. Most of the places in India will observe the ending of the lunar eclipse at the time of moonrise, except some places of northeast India and Andaman and Nicobar Islands, where the end of the totality phase of the eclipse will also be visible. The eclipse is slated to begin at 3:20 p.m. with the totality phase starting at 4:34 p.m. That's it in this edition of DD India News Hour, but let us know your thoughts on the news of the day. For those of you on the go, you can get all the latest news and updates from India and across the world on the DD India mobile app. Now, this app is available on both Android and iOS platforms, and you can download the respective QR codes. We'll be back with more news as it breaks here on DD India. I'm Preeti Kaur signing off, and from all of us here in Delhi, thanks for watching DD India News Hour.